Okay, I just want to say thank you all for being here to celebrate the Christmas season with us.
Yeah, and it's just not the holidays until the whole family gathers around to watch a Christmas movie musical.
There's so many people from our musical theater expanded universe. What a blessing.
Right, we have Roger and Maureen from Rent. They never leave. The benevolent God ushers the poor artists back to their flat.
You owe us like 2 years of rent, Maureen.
Did you have to invite Benny and Mimi too?
Roger, I'd honestly rather be with you tonight than in Westport.
Spare us old sport the soundbite.
Benny, did you know that Roger's friend threw your dog out the window in the 90s?
Mimi!
Your friend killed Evita?
Cervical cancer killed Evita.
Okay, and let's not forget the greatest showman himself, P.T. Barnum.
It's all right, everybody. Hyperbole isn't the worst crime.
Dog homicide should be.
I'd still say you'd be the perfect star attraction for my show, Gerald.
Oh, I didn't want to be the one to tell you, Phineas, but animal cruelty and a long-standing fear of clowns caused the Barnum and Bailey Circus to finally close after 150 years or something, I think.
Well, they're still laughing at you, kid. You might as well get paid.
They're laughing at me?
Let's get this started! What musical is she from? Mamma Mia? Mean Girls. Ooh, Legally Blonde. Oh my God, you guys.
It's Xanadu, isn't it? This is Meghan. She's my best friend.
I was gonna say Heather's.
So, what Christmas movie musical are we going to watch?
Oh, that leads us to the newest member of our musical theater family, Mr. Bing Crosby.
Oh, you mean that old guy who's been sipping scotch in the corner for 20 minutes?
Well, yeah, but he's playing a character or something though, right?
I mean, yeah, but, you know, he's always playing Bing Crosby, so we're just gonna call him Bing Crosby.
Well, Cookie Baby Sweetie Pie. Would you like me to explain to you how tempos work?
I'm a music director.
Whoa. Slow down there, calm down. Don't get your vagina in a twist, kid. Ba-ba-ba-boo. When I'm worried and I can't sleep, I dream about a tall, cool blonde, kind of a first sack attack, you know? Then I dream about a brunette, little on the scat backside.
I feel like I should understand these words, Tripp.
Oh, Gerald. Bing was a very famous entertainer. You should have seen him on stage. So very dynamic. He was quite the sex symbol back in the day. I think we're waiting on one more guest.
Well, whatever, he'll get here when he gets here. Gerald, not only are we watching a Christmas musical, but we're playing a game. The White Christmas Drinking Game! Yay! All right, let's fire this puppy up!
Despite my coloring, I really hate to be a Grinch, everybody, but I've never seen White Christmas!
Oh, for the love of Vera-Ellen!
Emily, do you know what this means?
I do, Tripp. God damn it, I do. All right, we'll be right back, everyone. Just talk amongst yourselves for a little bit.
I did hair once in college.
Just a pack of weirdsmobiles.
Stealing focus!
Merry Christmas, Broadway babies! I'm Gerald.
I'm Emily.
And I'm Tripp, and welcome to Stealing Focus,
The show where we review movie and TV musicals, comparing them to their source material,
And rating them on their own merits.
to determine once and for all whether these shows live up to our lofty expectations as true aficionados of the Great White Way.
We'll be looking at the moments that are a standing O, yes! A slow clap,
Meh.
and a Carey the musical.
Today, we are showing Gerald a movie musical that's been a classic for decades, White Christmas.
White Christmas is a musical comedy that was released in 1954, starring Bing Crosby, Danny Kaye, Rosemary Clooney, and Vera-Ellen, and featuring a score by musical theater songwriting legend Irving Berlin.
White Christmas tells the story of Bob Wallace and Phil Davis, a duo of Broadway entertainers who met during World War II. The pair eventually teams up with the Haynes sisters, Betty and Judy, and somehow through shenanigans, they all end up in the same Vermont inn, which is coincidentally owned by Wallace and Davis's old military general. But turns out there's no snow in Vermont these days, and the general might lose the inn. So in the grand tradition of these old-timey musicals, the gang has to put on a show in order to save the place.
It's a simple enough story that keeps families coming back for more every Christmas season. It was so popular for so long that White Christmas finally received a Broadway stage adaptation in 2008. And guess what? In a weird kind of way, White Christmas is a jukebox kind of musical.
How is that possible? Irving Berlin wasn't ABBA or Carole King or even Jim Steinman who wrote musicals like Annie Get Your Gun.
Well, you have to understand, Gerald, that in Irving Berlin's day, musicals were a lot different than how we think of them now. Irving Berlin wrote tons of songs in the early 1900s, and many of them were in various musicals. Back before musicals like Showboat and Oklahoma introduced the importance of the Broadway book, musical theater, or musical comedy, as it was called, was really more of a musical revue, just a very thin storyline that was meant to show off the songs and the dancing.
And before the advent of rock and roll, or even radio, musical comedy songs were popular music. You wouldn't gather around the TV or the radio, you'd sit down at the family piano with sheet music and sing. That's what pop music was.
So in the early 1950s, we're in a post-Rodgers and Hammerstein world, but there's 30 or 40 years worth of Irving Berlin songs just sitting there. And one of them was the trademark song of White Christmas's leading man, Bing Crosby. He had already sang it in 2 other films at this point. Putting them all together in a coherent story only made sense.
That's why there are so many songs about the army in this. Berlin wrote lots of stirring anthems during World War II, and even some of the songs that just fly by in passing, like Heat Wave or Blue Skies. Everyone just knew these songs at the time.
So, in a way, White Christmas was one of the earliest examples of a musical being fashioned around an already existing catalog of songs. Maybe not a jukebox musical, but...
A family piano musical.
That's right, buddy. Family piano musical.
Okay then, White Christmas is a holiday classic, but it's an almost 65-year-old film. Does it still hold up?
Well, let's take a look.
And then we'll play the drinking game.
This is White Christmas. This movie is so iconic, and the list of good stuff is a mile long.
The cast is all around fantastic. Nary a weak link. Bing Crosby is still the crooning champ. Danny Kaye is wacky hilarious. Rosemary Clooney's voice is like butter.
That dress! I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me.
And Vera-Ellen's dancing is on a whole other level. Her chemistry with Danny Kaye is palpable, even if it comes across as more of a Will and Grace dynamic than something romantic.
The supporting cast is just as strong. Dean Jagger is subtle and strong as General Waverly, and career busybody Mary Wicks is spot on as the housekeeper Emma.
From the start, to send me a Joe who had winter and snow in his heart. Was it
Baby Bernardo! Oh, it's George Chakiris from West Side Story. Good Lord, I can't believe what this movie does to me.
Yep, that's George Chakiris in a pre-West Side Story background dancing role, making him the only actor in this film to win an Academy Award. And that leads us to some more of the minor characters, like Johnny the chorus boy.
Okay, we need to talk about this guy. He shows up halfway through and he shares 3 dance sequences with Vera-Ellen. One of them features no singing whatsoever, just top-notch fun dancing.
Apologies. Continue.
But He's not really a character. He has maybe 3 lines? What gives?
White Christmas was originally a project conceived for Bing Crosby and Fred Astaire, reteaming them after their successful pairing in Holiday Inn. But Astaire was retired at the time, so Bing backed off the project. White Christmas sat on the shelf for a time, then became a vehicle for Bing Crosby and Donald O'Connor, reteaming him with Vera-Ellen after their successful pairing in Call Me Madam. And if you've seen Singin' in the Rain, you know Donald O'Connor is a dancer. So he was all set to do those super intense dance sequences with Vera-Ellen until he got injured and had to pull out of the film. Luckily, Kaye was able to step in at the last minute, and although he can dance, he had nowhere near the technique required. So, rather than re-choreograph, they just pulled this guy, John Braskia, from the ensemble, turned him into Johnny the chorus boy, and Kaye was incorporated in other ways, like in the choreography sequence. And that's why Vera-Ellen only has 1 dance sequence with her love interest and 3 dance sequences with some hot guy in the chorus.
And that choreography was not to be touched, because do you know who the uncredited choreographer was? Do you know? Do ya? Do ya?
Oh no!
Bob Fosse!
So we have a sneaky young Bob Fosse doing the choreo and a score by one of the legends of Broadway, Irving Berlin. I mean, this guy is American musical theater, and so many of these songs are iconic for a reason. Like Tripp said, Berlin had a huge catalog of wartime songs, as he lived through both world wars, so the film has at least 3. Gee, I Wish I Was Back in the Army, What Can You Do with a General, and The Old Man. And the title song, White Christmas, is one of the biggest hits ever in the history of recorded music. And because of this film, many other worthy songs became classics as well.
Love, You Didn't Do Right by Me, Snow, The Best Things Happen When You're Dancing, and of course, Sisters.
God, I love everything about this sequence and the dancing! Oh no, those dresses! I feel it imperative for me to honor the glorious costumes in this film, designed by the legendary Edith Head. The men's shoes match their suit pants. Come on! And those feathers! Oh, every single outfit is a dream! What?
I love this side of you.
And the comedy in this movie is genuinely funny.
I especially love the part where Kaye and Bing Crosby do their rendition of Sisters. It seems so genuine, like they're really having the time of their lives.
That's because they were. Crosby and Kaye were just messing around one day for the crew, and the director, Michael Curtis, thought it was so funny he put the shenanigans into the film.
It's so rare to see something fairly unscripted in a movie from the 50s. But there are hilarious lines littered throughout the film that still stand up today.
All right, they didn't go to college. They didn't go to Smith. Go to Smith? She couldn't even spell it. Oh, that's very funny. Oh, the crooner is now becoming the comic.
What is this, the best 2 out of 3?
Come on. I don't seem to have any cash. What'd you do with that? Leave it in your snood? Oh, it'll come to you, sir. Just takes time. Sure, we wouldn't be any good as generals.
You weren't any good as privates.
Put your weight on it. My weight. Right here, sir.
Susan, call a doctor.
Oh, please don't do that, sir. It's probably just a small internal muscular hemorrhage, sir.
And finally, I would like to acknowledge my favorite character in the film, the comedic genius known as Doris the Chorine. I am obsessed with this character. She's in 2 scenes in the whole movie, and she is just so funny. All of her lines are hilarious.
Well, I like that. Without so much as to kiss my foot or have an apple. Well, that...
I mean, come on, even the stuff she says in passing cracks me up.
I sure wish it would happen to me.
Yeah, I do too.
And her stock response upon meeting someone new is pure entertainment.
Mutual, I'm sure.
The actress playing Doris is named Barry Chase, and while she did make quite a few movies after this, to me, Doris will always be her most iconic role.
Mutual, I'm sure.
amazing as White Christmas is, there is a reason why we play a drinking game while watching it. I mean, it came out in 1954, so there's lots of stuff that haven't aged well or never were really funny to begin with.
Yeah, it doesn't take anything away from watching the film, and in fact, it adds to it. It's fun to point things out with your friends along the way.
Yeah.
Well, yeah? Prove it. It's time for a goof off! Yeah. The rules: rattle off all the silly, doofy, goofy, funny things in White Christmas as fast as you can. First round, major fails. Let's go!
Bing Crosby was 51 years old, while Rosemary Clooney was only 26. Ugh. He's old enough to be her father, which is why they have about as much chemistry as any father-daughter team should have. Mary Wicks shares a kiss with Bing Crosby that has way more passion. She was only 10 years his junior.
Can we talk about how the entire plot hinges on a general who is sad that he's retired? Waverly has a military pension, a smoky daddy look, and an inn in Vermont. He's doing all right.
Also, what exactly is the problem with putting the general on TV? Oh no, we give the inn some much needed free publicity during the busy holiday season. Heaven forbid.
Ugh, why doesn't anyone in this film talk to each other? Every single conflict would be solved if Rosemary Clooney would just tell Bing or Vera about a minor misunderstanding.
So Rosemary Clooney thinks Bing Crosby is going to exploit the general by putting him on TV, when really, he's not going to make any money from the venture. It would be so easy for her to just ask him about it. Instead, she takes the train to NYC and gets a job singing at a club. Bing goes to visit her, and the reunion is treated like they're longtime exes who haven't seen each other in years. Not a couple of people who kissed once and saw each other just a couple days ago.
Danny Kaye wasn't gay, as far as any of us know. But he sure plays Phil Davis like he is. I don't know if it's a conscious choice or if this is what he thinks being afraid of commitment is, but I mean, Phil is gay, right?
Great first round, everyone. Now, round 2 of the goof off. Minor nitpicks.
Okay, so no one checks the weather before going to Vermont? I mean, you must have had some inkling that there hasn't been snow there in months.
Betty and Judy's brother, freckle-faced Haynes, the dog-faced boy, is just totally normal looking. Actually, he's kind of cute. He kind of looks like a puppy. So I guess that's dog-faced?
The Martha Graham joke in choreography did not age well. It was even a lame joke for Berlin to make at the time, as modern dance was coming into its own in the 1950s. Sure, it's funny to watch Danny Kaye mug it up and Vera-Ellen do the insane tap dance, but the joke of isn't modern dance weird just doesn't hold up into anything today.
The way Vera-Ellen says Vermont.
Where are you going?
Vermont.
Oh, honey, no. Don't go to sleep with a full face of makeup.
Dear God, you built a set replicating the war zone where you spent Christmas Eve during World War II. Why would any veterans want to see that only 10 years after the event?
Okay, where did they find these kids? Are they local actors? Did they have auditions? Were they flown in from the cast of Playing Around in New York?
Speaking of Playing Around, that's Wallace and Davis's hit show that's been running on Broadway for 2 whole years. There it is, check it out. Those dopey middle-aged guys derping around on the stage, totally worth the admission price. Am I right?
Finally, the show they're putting the general on is The Ed Harrison Show. Ed Harrison, Ed Harrison, we're gonna be on Ed Harrison.
Okay. The final round of the goof off is... What the what?
Bing Crosby has his own language. I mean, seriously, he ad-libbed so many weird lines in this movie. Half the time we have no idea what he's talking about.
Christianas and the stemming and the plotzing and the shushing. Now, if I have a ham and cheese on rye like that, I dream about a tall, cool blonde, sort of a first sacker type, you know? Turkey, dream about a brunette. little on the scat back side, but oh, sexy. Here, grab the cow. Sister.
How much is wow?
It's right in between ouch and boing.
Wow.
Vera-Ellen can't sing. Like at all. So she's dubbed over. But there is one scene where they let her glorious, true voice shine through.
Snow. It won't be long.
It's okay though, because Rosemary Clooney can barely walk. Betty, that's not how arms work.
Vera-Ellen is the queen of mugging to the camera. She's always turning over her shoulder and looking at you like, yeah, can you believe what I'm pulling off? Also, there's this weird part in Sisters where the song takes a hiatus for the leading men to talk about the ladies' eye color. So what, they actually staged a part where they just stand there, don't sing, and wave their feathers and bat their eyes for 16 bars?
Hey, how about those big brown eyes?
Oh, they're blue.
No, brown.
Uh-oh. Blue.
Oh yeah, deep blue. Is this part of the act? How long are they gonna just stand there and blankly stare and shimmy?
Now, this is halfway between ouch and boing. Let's liven things up, Buster Brown.
Okay, it's time to get a little real here. This movie is a lot of fun, but there are some things that weren't cool to begin with. It's time to address the minstrel show in the room. There is a two-part sequence in White Christmas known as the Minstrel Medley, where Bing, Rosemary, and Danny sing about how much they miss minstrel shows, which is followed up by Vera-Ellen doing an outrageous dance to the minstrel tune Mandy.
Minstrelly is tragically interwoven with the early days of musical theater. From vaudeville to Broadway to Hollywood, minstrel shows were a form of entertainment that consisted of white performers painting their faces black and playing black caricatures in blackface. It's always been gross, but believe it or not, they were really popular for a time.
Minstrel shows are no less prevalent in the history of cinema. The first talkie, The Jazz Singer, featured many minstrel show sequences. And Bing Crosby was no stranger to the craft. Just 12 years before White Christmas, he was in a painful minstrel show sequence in Holiday Inn, which, by the way, he also sang White Christmas in.
By the 1950s, even though racism in Hollywood was nowhere near fixed, minstrel shows were at least coming out of style. But Irving Berlin, being a composer who worked in the early 1900s, well, he had a ton of hits on the subject, so why not utilize them for this family piano musical?
So what we get in White Christmas is a minstrel show without the blackface. Instead, we get the color red, the film's stand-in for the color black. There are sparkly red gloves, red tambourines with faces on them, and women in red wigs that are vaguely reminiscent of exaggerated minstrel hairstyles. And just to drive the point home, the set pieces are covered in banjos, being played by white-gloved hands.
And there's Bing and Danny doing minstrel jokes with ridiculous accents, calling each other names like Mr. Bones. It's a common minstrel character. And the worst part? They're singing about how much they miss these shows. How fun they were. Just harmless, good family fun.
The most conflicting part comes with the second half, though, when Vera-Ellen appears and dances her ass off to Mandy, which is, unfortunately, a really, really catchy song.
Her dance is phenomenal, and it really has nothing to do with minstrel shows other than the setting it's in. So, yeah, it's difficult. I hate the first half so much, but, you know, then there's this.
Hold up. I've definitely seen this before. This dance sequence is a Christmas meme. People have been posting this vid for the past few months, all like, me, excited for Christmas.
Yeah. So I'm putting you on notice, all you people in internet land who think you're special for liking Christmas. You are posting a meme about liking minstrel shows. Not Christmas.
Awkward.
And finally, like many old movies of this ilk, casual misogyny abounds in White Christmas. Uncie Bing is by far the worst offender, and poor Rosemary gets the brunt of it. He spends the movie mansplaining, gaslighting, and at one point he gives a full-on speech about how it's the women who are wrong.
The age gap between Clooney and Crosby takes the mansplaining to a whole other level of yuck.
Oh, and there are other sexism blips all over the place. Like how everyone refers to Betty and Judy as the girls. They're grown-ass women. And how the general wants to tell Bing something he hasn't told the women folk.
Or then, there's even the attacks on their precious heteronormativity. After their hilarious rendition of Sisters, Bing undoes the whole joke by claiming being dressed up like a dame is the worst thing in the world.
So yeah, if you watch this movie, you might want to skip the minstrel sequence altogether, or watch it on mute.
Or you could just go see the Broadway adaptation. It only happened about 10 years ago. They cut out all the problematic stuff and they add in great new stuff like blue skies.
And when you watch the movie version, just try to laugh at Bing's casual sexism with your friends. It's so over the top that all you can do is point out how ridiculous it is.
Excuse me, gentlemen, and girly honey chickadee, but the party's just getting started downstairs and we're ready to play us a drinking game.
Actually, I think we're just wrapping it up.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Hang on there, Miss Lady Pants. No need to fly into raging hysterics.
Alright, we are ready. Is everyone ready? Does everyone have their drinks? Are we ready to play the White Christmas drinking game?
But Emily, our final guest still hasn't arrived.
He's probably coming from Disneyland or something. He'll be fine. Okay, here are the rules.
You take a drink every time Uncle Bing gives us a Bing-ism.
Bing in the pot singing and shushing. Now, if I have a ham and cheese on rye
What does
like
that
that, I'd
even
be about a tall, cool blonde, sort of a first second.
Trumbo grab the cow?
Turkey?
Why would you call
Give about
the
a brunette.
picture of
Little on
milk
the
a
scat.
Danny Kaye is Danny Gay.
Oh.
Well, that's pretty.
Well, of course.
That's a hard kick
He's a
right
little like Melissa. Oh my god, why he's like pushing Vera-Ellen away.
He's so handsome. Very dashing.
Vera-Ellen mugs to the camera. Be sure to take tiny sips during the best things happen while you're dancing or you'll get alcohol poisoning.
Do at home, come naturally on
Damn
the
it, Vera.
floor.
How many times is she gonna do this?
Rosemary Clooney tries to dance. Oh.
Isn't that adorable?
She couldn't be in my show.
But that dress though.
Someone could solve the plot with simple human communication.
Just talk.
I don't understand.
Talk to each other.
Communication is key.
And every time Bing mansplains or condescends to Rosemary.
How are you a sex symbol? How is he a sex symbol? Oh, whatever. There's no George to hear it.
For bonus points, finish your drink when Vera-Ellen uses her real singing voice and when Doris the Chorine says anything.
Two more.
Happy while you're
What a great show. Greatest show, though. Trying to be close to the greatest.
I love you, Johnny the Chorine.
IPA was a bad choice.
Johnny the chorus boy.
Don't hold it back, Daddy.
Thanks for watching our review of White Christmas.
Be sure to subscribe and check back for our reviews of the best and worst movie and TV musicals.
If you like what you see, be sure to comment and subscribe. Tell us what musicals you want us to review.
Tony Goldmark!
I have had a day. Okay, so first of all, I made the ill-advised decision to travel here via magical flying bed, like you do. But then, like an idiot, I turned the darn fool bed knob to the right instead of the left. Next thing you know, I'm at the bottom of the gosh darn cartoon ocean for no discernible reason. Party seems kind of dead. Want to go fight some Nazis?
Do I?
Portobello Road, Portobello Road.
In the bleak midwinter, I see wind made moan. Earth stood hard as iron, water like a stone. Snow had fallen, snow on snow, snow on snow on snow. In the bleak midwinter, long ago.
Want to go fight some Nazis?